Hello everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to another live stream after a good long while of not doing one. We're back. I decided to do a little bit of a playthrough because I've been feeling like playing this game on my own, but considering it's Senran Kagura and a lot of people like it, and I'm sure people are dying to watch me talk about or do anything Senran Kagura related, so I said, why not? Why not just do the playthrough live on stream for, once in a while, whenever I have the time, whenever I can, I'll just come back and play this. So technically, if you look at my channel, I've played through every single Senran Kagura game, technically. But there are some games that I did not actually record myself playing, much less actually just play in general. One of them is New Wave. New Wave is one of those games that was like Japan only, and it was like browser-based, and it was just a weird thing, and I never heard any good things about it other than the cards. So, I never played it, and unfortunately that service has shut down ever since then, so the game literally does not exist. It is gone. And so yeah, I wasn't able to play that, so that's like one hole that is left in the repertoire of Senran Kagura games that I've played, right? Even for stuff like Peach Ball and stuff, I've played it, right? I haven't, I technically didn't beat the whole thing on video, but I did a few stories, and for what it was, it was fun at the time, but now not so much anymore. And then when it comes to the very first game in the series, Senran Kagura Burst, technically I did play it. I played it via the remake with Burst Renewal that had a bunch of new content and stuff, but we never did technically play the very first, like the original 3DS game. And it's not like it was impossible to play 3DS, right? We had Deep Crimson, and I ended up playing that first because at the time I was using an emulator called Citra. Even though I do have both games, I got my 3DS right here, and I got both Senran Kagura Burst and Deep Crimson on this 3DS. And but unfortunately, Senran Kagura Burst on the original console doesn't really run all that well. It's like less than 30 FPS. It was just really rough. It was a rough case. And even though it was a game that I enjoyed and that I played a lot of it, it's still, technically it just wasn't well optimized and stuff. And it really was like badly optimized because when Deep Crimson came out, like the entire experience was at 60 FPS. All of it ran super duper well. The graphics were awesome, and the cutscenes were super duper well animated and fun. So yeah, there was just a lot going for it. Hey, Sokolov Sonic, thank you for following, man. Oh geez, the chat is like getting on top of the footage. Hold on, where's chat on OBS? New BG chat. Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut it off because it's getting on top of the screen there. So let's just cut it off for now. I can see the chat just fine on a separate window, so we're good. I could move the chat physically down to be below, to actually be below the DS footage. That could also work. So what I can do is that I can pull this back up, but it's right below the bottom screen. Okay, we're good. I remember when you almost fell asleep playing Peach Ball. Yeah, I legitimately fell asleep, and it was not, I wasn't happy to see that. Yeah, certainly, it takes a lot for a game to make me fall asleep. There are many moments where I fall asleep in a game, not because the game is bad or it's boring or anything, but because I am just, like, so tired that day that I just fall asleep, right? Or, the game is, like, in a slow part, it's, like, lolling a little bit, and so, I fall asleep. That's really no indication of me hating a game or anything, but with Peach Ball, yeah, man, that game was just dull. So very dull. I remember when I played the Japanese version, and I was, I had fun at the time because it was new. But, after the honeymoon phase goes away, you start to realize and see the game for what it is, and it's just not good at all. But yeah, I played Burst Renewal. We did a full playthrough of that in YouTube videos. I think this one is going to be a bit more chill, a bit more of a relaxed, quieter kind of series where, because, we know the story and everything. but I kind of just wanted to fill in that gap. You know, I use an emulator called Citra, and as I said, you know, I have both 3DS copies right here, but the original Senran Kagura Burst on 3DS doesn't run very well. And when I tried to run it on the Citra emulator, it also did not run very well, but that was like a couple years ago. And so after Citra got like a million D updates, and after Senran Kagura 2, after doing that playthrough and seeing that the game runs very, very well, pretty much perfectly on Citra, I was playing with Launchbox and playing with a bunch of other emulators and stuff. I've been playing around with PS1 emulator through DuckStation and PS2, PS3. Right now, I've been on a bit of an emulation kind of marathon, just looking at every single console and looking at every single possible game that I can, like, dump onto my computer to be able to play on an emulator. And, you know, I admit there are some, like, Japan-only, like, 30-plus-year-old games that I would never be able to have access to if, you know, if there weren't for people, you know, uploading stuff to the internet and I, you know, download some of that stuff. I really do want to make it a point that when it comes to emulating stuff, I really do want to, like, you know, here's a game that I would otherwise never be able to play, right? Like the PlayStation 2 version of Dragon Quest V with, like, the English translation and stuff. But if it's stuff where, like, oh, you know, I can go on, like, PSN and, like, download it, and then, you know, with my hacked consoles and stuff, I can transfer it over. You know, as soon as you figure out how to do it, it's not that hard. And depending on, you know, what you're doing, I think with, like, PS2 discs or PS1 discs, if you have a CD-ROM, like a CD reader, you can literally just shove that CD, turn on RetroArch, and I think it'll, like, dump an ISO file for you. It's, you know, there are some emulators and there's some software that makes it easy. Some of them I do just download outright from the internet, but it really depends, you know? But yeah, I went ahead and played, you know, Pokemon Omega Ruby, Burst, Deep Crimson, because I already had all those games, right? But there's a hell of a ton of other 3DS games that are still just in my console that I don't really have on emulator. So yeah, it'll be fun to experiment with all of that and see what's possible. But anyway, I did think that it was fun to just get into Senran Kagura Burst and just play it. Because I already did a couple of tests playing it on the Citra emulator. And guess what? If you remember the 3DS game running at like 20 FPS, then you're about to be very surprised, because this version on Citra through emulation plays much, much, much better. There are a couple of weird things about it, but we'll get to that when we get there. But for now, just enjoy me playing Senran Kagura again. But yeah, technically a different game. Technically not the same one as all the other ones. Alright, so I don't really need to switch screens and stuff like that. The bottom screen is mostly for menus and saving and just little things like that. As you can see, I already have a save file here. Asuka's the only one here, level 8. Yeah, so October 30th, as I said, I did do a little bit of a test before streaming, and so that's the save file that you see right there. But I'm not gonna use it for anything, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just overwrite this and start a new game. Save complete. Alright, so we got the dressing room, library, and settings. I'm gonna go to the settings just to see what's up. And in typical console game fashion, there is nothing here other than just music, sounds, and voice. I am gonna turn the sound effects a little bit down because the game does get super duper loud when you get to the battle scenes. That's pretty much true for every single Senran Kagura game ever, where the dialogue and the menus and stuff is very, very low volume. But then you get to the combat and it's really, really loud. Like, the audio mixing is all over the place when it comes to all the different sections of the game that you get into. So I'm gonna bring the sound down a little bit. The voices and the music can stay. Actually, maybe 9. There we go. Maybe like that. The voices are probably the most important part. So I'll just save this record. So, for anybody that doesn't know, technically, this isn't even the original game. The original... So, Burst Renewal is the original story, just remade. But then the original is Senran Kagura Burst. But then the original is Senran Kagura Skirting Shadows, another 3DS game that only had the Hanzo story, and that was it. Now, that in and of itself is already a pretty sizable game. And so now you get double the content because Senran Kagura Burst is an expanded version of that adds literally the left side of the screen, right? The opposite side, the villain's perspective with Hebijo Clandestine Girls Academy. And so, yeah, it says recommended for your first play is the Hanzo stuff. And then for Hebijo, see the story in another way. So the game does actually recommend you to play the Hebijo story later. If you are playing this for the first time, you should probably go for the Hanzo one first. It looks like a nice 3DS, my famous game. What? Okay. Apologies in advance if I don't really read the chat as obsessively as I used to before. I kind of just want to keep it to me playing the game and, you know. And if you guys want to talk, then talk. I'm not going to be responding to every single little comment. If I see something that's just, like, stupid or not worth answering, not worth acknowledging, then I'll just ignore it. And if there's something that I do want to, you know, respond to, then I will. You know, don't take it personally. I'm just doing this for the sake of my own sanity. But yeah. And I do mostly want to stay focused on the game. I don't want to, like, stay on, like, on a dialogue box for too long, like how I'm doing right now. So, yeah. I would rather just kind of keep it flowing. This isn't going to be like the other Let's Plays where, like, it's episodic, where, like, you know, I do a mission, it's like a 20-minute episode, and I post it every day. Not really. I think I'm mostly... It's going to be like the PBS Let's Play, where I kind of just live stream myself doing it, you know? I just do a stream. I don't know how often I'll do it. Probably every weekend. No idea. Maybe it'll be daily. I don't know. But I am planning on playing through this game, and recording it and keeping it recorded on my channel. So, yeah. I should have a bit to say since I have a lot of experience with this game. Yeah, and don't force yourself to say something if you, you know, if you just don't have anything to say. But, you know, I usually gauge how, like, you know, invested people are in the stream based on how people talk, you know? So if I play for 3 hours and the chat is, like, nothing, is like, you know, the latest message is, like, the last message that I heard, like, you know, 2 hours ago, then to me that says, like, okay, people don't give a shit, whatever, right? But if I see a lot of chat activity is like, oh, okay, people are into this, right? But again, you know, that's not necessarily true, right? Just because people don't talk in the chat, that doesn't mean that people don't care, because there are still viewers, right? There's a lot of lurkers, and I myself, and I am someone that never talks to on stream ever, right? So, yeah. I shouldn't be following my own advice, but yeah. Anyway. With that disclaimer out of the way, let's go ahead and just play Senran Kagura Burst, the original game. So we're starting with the Hanzo story, and if you guys have seen my playthrough of Burst Renewal, the remake, then a lot of this will feel very familiar to you, just slightly older, I guess. So I made here. Now it's time to die. Alright, so... thanks to Citra emulation and how it, like, automatically installs shaders and stuff like that, the game looks really good. You know, I'm playing this, like, full screen on my 1080p screen, and, you don't see any jags or anything like that. It looks really nice and smooth. Kind of like how Deep Crimson used to look like. Yeah, you must be joking. The text does definitely look really, really grimy, you know? That's the only thing that didn't get retextured, I guess. That definitely looks like 3DS jagginess. Some jagginess action going on. You must follow the path of the shinobi. Alright. Apologies if I sound a little absent-minded and I'm just repeating text, but I'm making sure that the audio is okay. And, yeah, this definitely looks better than the original version. Well, at least, you know, when you play it on, like, at a lower resolution on the 3DS screen, right? Which is much smaller. And, of course, right below me, you can see the bottom screen, which shouldn't have anything special. There is a little bit of artifacting in the movement, but, that is something that should be getting better over time. Eventually, like, the emulator, the game just kind of gets comfortable with where it's at, and so, like, it starts to run better. Also, remember that I'm streaming, and that takes up a good part of the RAM and the GPU and stuff. Look at that! 60 frames per second, baby! Higher resolution, 60 FPS. There we go. So, it's not perfect. It does slow down a little bit, but, it didn't slow down for me at all when I was, not streaming, so... You guys need to remember, OBS itself takes up a lot of memory. Remember that computers are not magic. They have memory. They have RAM. And stuff like this happens where, like, you know, when you don't have OBS open, the game runs perfectly. But if you're streaming and you're recording on top of that, then this shit happens where it freezes. I'm kind of getting that same feeling. You know, like when you show somebody a TV show that you like, and then the TV show has like the cringiest, most embarrassing episode, and you're like, no, I swear it's just a bad episode. Please believe me. Well, the same shit here. I want to show off the game and how much better it runs now. And it's like hitching up and freezing and not working very well. And it's like, I swear to God, when I wasn't streaming, the game was buttery smooth. I swear on my mother's life. Oh my God, this looks so much smoother. Oh yeah, and just wait until we get into the menus and stuff when we actually start to play the regular missions. I like how smooth this is, but I'm so used to the bad frame rate. I mean, yeah, I have like 60 hours on the original 3DS game. So you know that I'm used to the slow frame rate, but after playing it on an emulator, it's a little difficult to go back, don't you think? Even if you're just watching it. Kevin Miles, hello. So, apologies if I'm ignoring the narration text here. We've already read it, because it's exactly the same text as in Burst Renewal. It's exactly the same. And it's setting up the tone for shinobi, who are shinobi, you know. Good shinobi work for the government, evil shinobi work for... They're essentially mercenaries. Whoever pays them the most, they'll work for them. A multinational project to train shinobi, secret shinobi in schools. Established in 1919. Roughly 1,000 students. But then there's the elite. The elite students are only the 5 girls that we know. The Mammoth CP Academy, an ordinary institution, never realizing it has 2 faces. The shinobi students train in secret, unbeknownst to the rest of the student body. Yeah. So not even the teacher, not every single teacher is in on it. And not every student is in on it. Allied with the state. Good shinobi, but only in the eyes of the state, right? Just because they work for the government, that doesn't mean that they're good. Because, you know, there's corrupt politicians and stuff. You work for the people that are in charge, so that automatically means that you're good, I guess. This takes me back to like 5 years ago. This takes me back to even more than that. Gosh. It was a very different time back then when I played Burst for the first time. And it wasn't even my first Senran Kagura game. The very first Senran Kagura game I ever played was Bon Appetit on PlayStation Vita. And it wasn't even the full version, because they split that game off into 2 pieces. It's a $30 game that they split off into 2 $15 pieces, and I only paid $15 for one half. And then $15 for the other much later. And so, I had played that. Oh my God, yeah, we got this too. Oh God, it's in slow motion. As I said, the emulation is not perfect. Yeah, the song isn't like half speed. I was in high school when I first played this. I wasn't. I was in like college. Well, I guess we're not gonna get a content ID claim. It's not gonna recognize it. Oh, wow. And this is a little awkward because in Burst Renewal, this little animation doesn't necessarily exist. Because they remix it and they turn it into this like heavily, like excessively edited mess. I don't remember this animation being in Burst Renewal. So this is our chance to actually see it, and it kind of sucks that the emulation is not like good enough to be able to play it in full speed. It is a little bit awkward. But I'm pretty sure you can go on YouTube and just look it up at full speed and stuff. The animation studio that worked on this is obviously the ones that worked on Senran Kagura Ninja Flash, which is the animated series. This already looks better than the anime itself, animation-wise. And I don't know if it's the same people for Senran Kagura 2 for Deep Crimson. I think it is. I think it is the same people that animate the second 3DS animation. But then after that, I think it's someone different. This does look cool, though. Say whatever you want about Ninja Flash. The animation was a little better. It was a little better than, like, Shinobi Masters, where, like, it was just a slideshow the entire time. And there was, like, barely any action. It looked alright. Yeah, and they're even showing you skirting shadows. So technically, the intro for Senran Kagura Burst is a slightly different one that you play in the Hebijo. I want to say Crimson Squad, but no, it's Hebijo. The current Hebijo story. This wasn't a Burst renewal, not even as an extra, and it's disappointing. Yes, it's very disappointing. One of the many reasons for why I don't actually think that Burst renewal is like the definitive way to play Senran Kagura Burst. I would say it's a mixture of both. I think if you want to get the full Burst experience, you gotta play the 3DS game and then play the remake. And then you'll realize how, like, botched and, like, you know, truncated the remake is. People like to say that it's good because, oh, look at the graphics. Oh, look at the frame rate on the other one. And this one looks, oh, the graphics. But then, like, the actual content of it is so, like, cheap and just sloppily put together. It's a very, very lazy remake. I mean, they took Estival Versus and they just, you know, added a, you know, they took all of the cutscenes to make it look like it's Senran Kagura Burst. It's even the same voices. They didn't re-record the voices or anything. It's all just remastered voice clips and stuff. So, like, you know, I think the best way for you to enjoy Burst is to play this. And now that I know that it runs at 60 FPS on an emulator, now you don't get to complain. You have no position. You're in no position to complain now. So just run it on an emulator, and it'll run so much better. And then, if that's still not enough, play the remake, and then enjoy all of the cool shit about it, which is mostly just all the stuff that's not in the game, which is all the DLC that you have to pay for extra, and then all of the secret documents that add more lore and stuff. I miss when the characters had their own unique models, yeah. I understand why they don't do that with the newer games. I wish I could get stuff like this again. Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine it's for, like, budgetary reasons. Maybe they didn't have enough money or something. I don't know. But, the Senran Kagura series over time has definitely gotten very complacent. They really haven't... I've never felt that they've had any desire to improve upon what they have. Just like, oh, the boobs will sell it. And that, they kind of shot themselves in the foot that way with all the spin-offs and stuff by not actually wanting to make a good game. Just kind of like the kernel, the idea of a good game, and then not following through with it at all. Just, you know, making cheap-ass, like, shitty fucking pinball spin-offs and, like, little semi kind of dating sim kind of stuff. It's just, you know, good ideas executed on very, very poorly because nobody believed in the product. And so they just did it in a really half-ass way. And, you know, ironically, you know, the thing that could have, you know, made all those spin-offs succeed and have more support for the game would be if they actually went all the way with it and they made better games with more content and stuff. But of course, you know, the flawed logic that Takaki has is like, well, if the first pinball game sells well, we can do another one. It's like, okay, yeah, put the shitty one out first. And then if we're stupid enough to buy into it, then we'll give a shit. It's like, oh, cool. Great. That's not how it works. You gotta make good games first, and then we throw money at you. And that's why we keep playing Senran Kagura Burst and Shinobi Versus and Estival Versus, and sometimes even Burst Renewal, right? We like to play the action games a lot. Hey, we want to see more of this. Especially Burst, right? Because Burst really feels like they have something to prove, you know? And with the expanded version, that's like double the amount of content, so like they really wanted to, you know, squeeze out as much value as they could out of these 3DS games, right? But after the games left the 3DS, you know, outside of maybe like Shinobi versus Estival versus, they really fell off. They really dropped the ball. That's why people are very, very much waiting for Senran Kagura 7 to be a thing. if they have a big fat number on it, it kind of implies that it's like those 3DS games, right? That it has a lot of content, a lot of value, a good story, a bitchin' ass soundtrack, you know? It has all of those great things, and it's not like this really lazy spin-off, right? And I hesitate to call anything from the game development industry, like, lazy, because even for shitty games, you can't be lazy, but, like, that's just kind of how it feels, right? Anyway, welcome to looking at these dialogue scenes in 60 FPS as well. A night and day difference from the 3DS game. I certainly hope it's like the 3DS games. Yeah, exactly. And if they do DLC, have it be DLC expansions and not just little microtransactions. Enough of this. R.I.P. to the voice actor for Kiriya, unfortunately. He passed away like a while ago. So if Kiriya, I don't know, is Kiriya gonna be in Senran Kagura 7? If he is, he's probably gonna be voiced by someone else. I don't know. But then again, all of the Senran Kagura 7 stuff, like, the game was already slated to come out, like, years ago, but because of the censorship stuff, the game hasn't come out since. They had to, like, totally rework it. And so maybe, like, were Kiriya's lines already recorded by then? And they still have them, and they're just saving them for when the time comes, or what? Like, I don't know. It seemed like the game was very much, like, on the way to come out, but then after all of the censorship stuff, like, the game was just, like, stuck in limbo, and we haven't heard anything about it since. But then again, after the 10-year anniversary celebration, if you go to the official Japanese website showing the timeline for all the games, there's a one little message at the end that says, the girl's adventures will continue, you know, almost like the Guardians of the Galaxy will return, right? It had this text that said, that kind of implied, like, hey, it's not over yet, you know? So, like, what does that mean? Does that mean SK7, or does that mean more shitty spin-offs, right? Or did they mean, oh, the Neptunia Senran collab, right? So who knows? All I want is just a tweet. I want Marvelous to just tweet out, Senran Kagura 7 is still happening, right? Because I don't believe the games were canceled until they are definitively, you know, I need to see the Gamatsu article that says Senran Kagura 7 canceled, you know? And not like a bunch of bullshit people in the comments going, oh, it's never coming out. Because people said the same shit for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and that came out. Everybody said that about Shenmue 3, and it came out. Everybody said that about Kingdom Hearts 3, and it came out, you know? People always say that for games where, like, the developers fucking dare to commit the awful sin of just making you wait, you know? If you have to wait more than a year, everybody's like, oh, it got canceled. There's a leak. There's a leak saying that it got canceled. My dad works at CD Projekt Red, and he said the Cyberpunk was canceled. So, like, you know, that's one of those things where, like, if it's not from the official source, I don't believe it. You know, if it's not from the company itself. And so, if Marvelous doesn't say, if Honey Parade Games doesn't say that it's canceled, then I think they're still working on it. Hello. Oh, Katsuragi in 60 FPS in Burst. Yeah, and, like, you know, the hair and everything, it just looks so much nicer. Gosh, emulation is so good when it does shit like this, right? Like, why would you ever want a Senran Kagura Burst remastered, right? You don't need the remastered, just emulate it. Look at this. Again, it's not perfect. Because sometimes the game runs really fast and, like, it accidentally skips over stuff. What was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, like, the poses and, like, the... You know how, like, from Shinobi versus Onward, it's all the same, like, 3 to 4 poses? They always do this, and then they always do, like, this, and then, you know, it's always, like, the same 3 or 4 little positions. And Burst is actually pretty unique. There's a bunch of different, like, little poses and stuff that don't exist in any other game. Obviously, they don't exist in Burst Renewal. They kept all of the generic stuff from Shinobi and Estival, so, you know. The little emotion symbols and stuff, that's also different. And OBS just froze. So, what the hell? Okay. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm just gonna sit here until the encoding overload notification goes away. Can you guys hear it okay? I have the volume on pretty low because the combat is super duper duper loud, and so... But when it comes to the dialogue, I can pump it up. Yeah, those are all of your JoJo stands that we never bring up ever. Only in like one episode of Senran Kagura Ninja Flash, and then here in this little segment do they ever like acknowledge that they have like guardians. That's what they call them. But yeah, they all have like these little guardian spirits. Toad, Phoenix, Dragon, Squid, Rabbit. Yeah. And I really wish that was integrated a little bit more into like their character or the combat or something. They're basically JoJo stands a little bit. I mean, there are stuff like with Yagyu, you know, she can summon the giant squid. With you know, Ikara guys like Hien and stuff. But I only see that with the Hanzo girls, right? Like, what about Crimson Squad? You never see like snakes coming out of them or anything, right? And what about like with Gessen and Hebijo, you never see their guardians ever. They technically have one, but they never show up or anything. The most that you see in Shinobi Versus is like Yumi summoning a giant spider, you know, as like an ultimate attack, but that's only in Shinobi Versus. In all the other games, she just transforms to give you the most useless and fucking terrible ultimate attack ever. I'd rather have a horse or a rabbit. You must possess the ninja art scrolls. It must be in your person at all times. Yep. Under my skirt. Yep. Activate our imagination glands. My cleavage. Yeah, say that in front of the teacher. Sure. Say it proudly. Mine's in between my boobs so that it looks like a dick. So that it implies stuff. That doesn't sound safe to me. I think it's the safest place, I would say. Let me see how well it's hidden. Oh my god. Take a minute. Sekuhara yamero. Please try to refrain from sexually harassing others during class. Continue. Please try. At least try. The Super Secret Ninja Art. Wow. How big is this book? Like one page? My god, the boob jiggle. Is the pride and joy of our school, and his content was to be kept an absolute secret. God, even back in the 3DS, I mean, Takaki's inspiration for making Senran Kagura, at least on 3DS, is like, oh man, I wanted to see, like, I wanted to use the 3D feature of boobs, like, you know, popping out of the screen and stuff. But, like, still, like, the physics, even back then, were still pretty on point. Oh. School bell. Dun, 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 dun. I never had a nice, pleasant little bell when I was in school. I was in a Catholic school, in a private Catholic school close to the border to Mexico. And my bell, whenever there was lunchtime or when lunchtime was over, it was... And then everybody would run as fast as they can. And then there was the second bell you know, when the second bell rang, it means everybody should already be inside the classroom and class starts, and it would go... And it would scare the shit out of me every time. Basic martial arts instructions. All of you are to meet me on the roof. Alright, where all cool fights happen. And love confessions. In anime. But it's only love confession if it's like, sundown? when it's sunset. And it's 9 a.m. in the morning. Too early for that. Alright, the ninja room. We all know this. If you've played Shinobi Versus, then you'll know. Then you'll know how to do this by heart. In Burst Renewal, this does not exist. You are not able to walk around freely, which is both a positive and a negative. It's positive because, you know, people like having freedom, right? Even if it's tiny little morsels of freedom, like moving around freely and walking over to talk to all the characters. Now, I like this because, number one, we're playing this on an emulator, so 60 FPS, 1080p, baby. So yeah, you know, on the 3DS version, the frame rate would absolutely tank. It would absolutely tank to like 15 FPS walking around here. So it is very impressive how smooth and nice this runs now on a PC. If there was ever like a remastered version of this 3DS version, which I doubt because the remake is out, then I would want it to run no better than this. I mean, no worse than this, I would say. But then, like, the environment, look at this. You got the sushi bar over there. You can see Kiriya, the revolving doors, the gears, where I have no idea what they do till this day. You got the little thingy, and then the television, the little table with, like, snacks and tea. You can see all the characters hanging around. Hey, man, good stream, thank you. That's fucking smooth. It is smooth, huh? Makes you want to go back onto your 3DS and play it there, huh? And think, ew. I mean, it doesn't necessarily bother me, but, like, you know, this is just undeniably better, right? Oh, another reason for why I like the open, you know, exploratory environment is that you can actually talk to all the characters. It's very important. It's kind of like Dragon Quest when you have the party chat. Well, here, they kind of have their own little party chat going on here. Every time you finish a level, or every time the story moves forward, the characters have something to say. Even Kiriya has something to say. So I highly recommend that you talk to everybody, because after the story moves forward, you miss out on the dialogue and you cannot hear it again. Even after you beat the game, they have like their final, just like default speech, and then they never say anything new ever again after you beat the game. So go ahead and talk to everybody. A good reason for why I'm recording this for YouTube is that all of those lines, all of that dialogue is also recorded. So yeah. Probably too late for me since I was 15 or 17 at the time. Pretty smooth. I've been certain to record my progress on my missions on the projector next to the television. Your daily progress is important too, so it'd be devastating to lose track of so much work. So please record often. Thank you, Ikariga, who is equipped with a sword for some reason in the class. I mean, I got my Naginata, so I'm good. Nehabari, hand-to-hand combat. For such a piece of junk, the TV we use has some really good audio controls. I can tweak the volume of the sound effects, music, and voice acting that's on there, all on different scales. I just hope it doesn't break anytime soon. Yeah, so just, you're starting off the game. You haven't even played level 1 yet, so, all of the characters are giving you a little tutorial on how the game works, but as you keep playing more levels and as the story progresses, they are going to say something different that's more story-specific and not going, oh god, I really wish I could change my volume levels right now. So yeah, we can save our progress here, we can load and delete. On the television, we can adjust our audio levels. And then we have the library, which is all lore and data. So mission time, we've been playing for 30 minutes. Enemies defeated, 0, mission 0. Outfits 15%, we got 5, which is literally the 5 basic transformation outfits for all the girls, I'm pretty sure. And so if you want to look at all of the stats for all of the girls, whether that's level, EXP, enemies, how many ninja arts you use, missions cleared, and the ranking for all of the missions. So you can do every single mission with every single character, and there's a ranking for every single one. There's A, B, C, D, and D. The maximum is obviously A, but there's a higher one. There's an even better one than that, and that's when you finish the level in Frantic Mode, which gives you a little star rating. So the objective for any completionist out there is to get an A on all of them and to get the star. So it's like both. And so you can do that for all the characters. And so now here are titles. Titles are achievements for anybody that wants to know. Yeah, clearing all the chapters, all the missions with Asuka, Ikariga 100%, Katsuragi 100%. Before you ask me, yes, I am a crazy individual that has all of these achievements. Don't even test me, bro. Don't test me, don't question me, bro. I have every single achievement in this game. From the Hanzo side, I'm pretty sure I don't have a lot for the Heibijo side, but I definitely have all of them for the Heibijo side. Oh, and then the soundtrack. I really like this because you can actually read the thoughts of the composer that made the song. Instrumental version of the theme song for Skirting Shadows is meant to convey the determination of the girls who seek to become shinobi. And you can play it. Tatsu Hayashi. Mutsumi Ishimura. He's a goat. He composes a lot of the SK music. I got all the achievements thus as well because I'm insane. Yeah. And that's with the crappier running 3DS game, right? Ninja Run BGM for the first half of the game wanted to be pleasant, evoking light conversation with friends. And yeah, so as the game moves forward, you are going to be unlocking more more songs that you can play whenever you want. Wait, birthday September 8th, blood measurement. Is there more? No. Okay. So for the bottom screen, you can use the touch screen. I'm on an emulator, so I can use my mouse to click on whatever I want. And then you have the dressing room. Almost sweaty now, so let's get changed. Oh yeah, so here you can change clothing for the characters. They give you a lot of different control schemes right there. Pretty much the only thing you have to worry about is the X button. Press the X button and hold it down. And move you can move your characters around like this. You can spin them around, make them vomit. Stop! I'm getting dizzy. Oh! And so I think if you use the D-pad, I accidentally... Yeah, hold on. There we go. I just want the regular one. And so I think with L? No, with L and R you change to different you change to different places. So if we do X on the D-pad... Wait, how do you zoom in? Oh, it's L and R. It's L and R. Okay, yeah, if you hold on X and you do L and R, you can zoom in. There we go. And of course, it bounces. What bounces? It bounces. And you have a bunch of colors. As always, you got a bunch of different colors for the underwear and all that stuff. Right now, I'm gonna leave everything as default, and of course, you can change the hairstyles. That does not look good to me. It looks like short-haired Ikariga dressed up as Asuka. So I did find a little bit of a glitch there. When you come out of the dressing room, it looks really weird and funky. And so, how do you fix this? Well, you just go to a different menu. You just go to a different menu, just unload all of that stuff, give it a minute, come back, and there we go! It looks all weird, but, it's an easy fix. Gotta love how they react with your actions. Yeah, and, I'm pretty sure you can use the stylus. You can use the bottom screen to touch them wherever you want as well. There's also, like, a vertical, you know, perspective and stuff. Yeah. There's a lot that you can do. There's a library available for reference. Photos, music, shinobi terminology. I wonder how much information could be gathered in one place. Truly, our school is a force to be reckoned with. Wow, because we have a library. There's dressing rooms for changing clothes, uniforms, swimsuits, shinobi transformation, outfits, cute accessories. Don't try too many sexy outfits, got it? My hands will get twitchy. I'll have something else that'll get twitchy, and it won't be my hands. Master Kiriya. The desk is where you girls will decide who is tasked with the next mission. There'll be times where I'll have to assign one of you specifically to take on a mission. However, keep that in mind. I trust all of you to do your best. No matter the assignment, remember, you represent the good shinobi. Try not to fall behind. Try not to do bad things like watch porn and not go to church on Sundays. There we go. And so in the bottom screen, you can see the chapter that you can get into. And, oh, Baldur's Gate and other games are on sale on Steam. Wow, says my smartwatch. No thanks. Alright, so chapter 1. There you go, mission selection. The face icon on the left shows whom you're controlling. A key icon indicates that this is a scenario mission. The new mark indicates the mission was newly added. Yeah, achieve undressing. I love that. The star icon indicates completion in Frantic Mode. Mission rank is given as a letter grade. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's the letter grade and the star, both. Or something that you gotta get. You know, if you do Frantic Mode, that doesn't necessarily mean you get an A. Report to the Hanzo Academy rooftop for combat practice. First, we'll go over the basics. You are to defeat all the dummies. Alright, all of these stupid boys. So yeah, it has the yellow key on it, which means that it is a key main story mission. We have all 5 characters in there on a nice little pixelated, like, face. Asuka, Ikariga, Katsuragi, Yagi, Hibari, and some mystery girl. It's Daidoji. So you gotta beat the whole game first. All of the skirting shadows story for you to unlock Daidoji, and then you can play as her. Daidoji is a little weird in this game. She's really, really slow, but obviously a powerhouse. She can, like, basically one-shot everybody. Is mostly like a jokey character that you kind of play with just to, like, you know, dab on them haters. But yeah, right now is the main mission with Asuka, so as always, every single mainline mission has to be played with the character that it belongs to, but then you can go back and play with whoever you want after that, so, yeah. And of course, if you want to be a completionist, you can, you know, get the highest ranking on everything. Thank you, Emulation, for making this game load very, very fast. I really hope they can remake Senran Kagura 2 like they did with Burst. That'd be both good and bad. I'd say good, because, yeah, you know, more people need to play that game. It's an awesome, awesome game. I want all of the DLC expansion stuff to be integrated into it. The graphics would obviously be better. You know, it'll be a good revival of that game, and it's awesome. But if it's going to be like Burst Renewal, where they remove a bunch of shit and all of the DLC for all of the girls, for Gessen and New Heavy Joe and stuff is like an extra thing that you have to pay for, you know? And like all of the special little, you know, things that you could do and SK2 gets taken away. No aerial ninja arts, no co-op, none of that stuff, like... And again, if you're running this game on an emulator, if you're playing Senran Kagura 2 on Citra, you don't really need a remake, honestly. You know, like just play this on a big-ass TV, you know, throttle the game to run at 1080p with the shaders on and stuff, and... Dude, you got your SK2 remake, you know? I don't feel like we really need it. The only thing that's missing from the original 3DS game is, to be able to play as Kagura and Naruku. That'd be the only thing. But other than that, I don't feel like we really need a remake, because if you're playing it emulated, there's your remake, dude. And knowing how modern-day Marvelous does things with their microtransactions and all that stuff, and their crappy DLC, and how they want to, like, simplify things to make it more accessible for the general audience, and considering the Sony and their censorship and all that stuff, you really think the Senran Kagura 2 is going to be the same as how it was on 3DS? No way. There's going to be this, like, castrated, truncated version of SK2, right? If it's the same, I'd be very happy, but I'm not holding out hope. Guillermo, thank you very much for the 99 cents. Thank you very much. Iraimu Guillermo, thank you so much. Have an Ayame. Ayame is going back to the shop and putting your 99 cents in a little bank. Mean people. Hibari is a surprisingly great character here in Burst. Ironically, Hibari is like one of the more important characters in Burst because you see a lot of her, and I mean a lot of her in this game. She really takes the, oh, it's the generic cutesy childlike character, right? She's gonna do lots of cute little things and whatever, but like, no. Like, all of the dark shit kind of comes from Hibari. That's the beginning of the Takaki curveball, where you think a character's gonna be one thing, but turns out they're another thing, and, you know. This is really cool because the game just feels kind of generic on the surface, but the more you play, the more you get to know the characters, and the more you kind of start to get invested in the story, right? And as I've said many times, the story is not Shakespeare, right? It's not Dragon Quest V or anything. It's not like the greatest thing in the world. But the fact that they bother to actually build a story out of this, I think is cool. She's a much better character than people give her credit for. Yeah, in Burst. I would say in Burst and in Deep Crimson, she's cool. Mostly because she's in a lot of the game. Especially in Deep Crimson, there's so many levels with Hibari in them. And there's a lot of Hibari here in Burst, too. Because there's a lot of her not wanting to be that generic cutesy character. She wants to be her own person, and she fails every time. She's a bit of a tragic character. But yeah, there's a lot of really cool character interactions here that are nice to look at. And with Kat seeming like an average pervert character who's also senior but has a lot of good story. Yeah, she has a lot of cool stuff going on in the background too. Hibari had some stuff to do in New Link recently. Yeah, because there's that new character that showed up, right? That also has the same eyes that Hibari has, and I'm like, fuck, okay. There's some cool shit that's gonna happen here. We should do that. We should do some streams where we just like use Google Translate and just translate the fucking story, man. Fuck it. Do you prefer Kiriya's face to look like this, or to look like how it looked like in Burst Renewal, where he got like the handsome Squidward surgery and he looks all weird? I don't like how Kiriya looks in the remake. Here, he actually looks like he belongs in this world. He looks like, you know, anime stylized as opposed to like the strangely realistic face that Kiriya has. We'll see Cat's story later. Lala and Yami, don't even remind me. Don't remind me of the To Love Ru collab in Yolink, because I did 4 gacha pulls for the To Love Ru collab and I got nothing. Nothing. Most of the SSRs that I got were like duplicates as well, so like don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. If you're gonna ask me about Yolink, don't talk to me. I am fucking pissed. I wanted my sexy pink-haired lady, and I love To Love Ru. It's a really lewd, cool series. I was surprised that nobody in the Discord really knew about it. It's a really cool fanservice-y series. It's famous. It's popular for being so fanservice-y. And no one on the Discord gave a shit. But I did. I liked it. I was surprised. It was a brand new collab, new characters and stuff, and I was like, oh, I am so gonna get at least one of them. I at least won Lala. And I got jack shit. I got totally robbed. And now I have no Nintama. I have no Nintama and I gotta grind all over again. Yeah, the Shinobi barrier. Lore.
隠密行動にはとても便利だが、一方デメリットもある。忍びは隠れ結界の発動を認識できるため、敵に自分の所在を知られてしまうことにもなるからだ。
The Shinobi barrier doesn't really... I mean, it is a thing, technically, in all the other games, right? But nobody really acknowledges it. Only in Burst and in the anime. In Ninja Flash, you see the force field be created and stuff. And I actually like that about Ninja Flash because it created a really, like, unique, colorful kind of backdrop to the fighting. You know, as opposed to just having regular environments, right? And they're shinobi, and they gotta stay hidden and in their shadows, right? So what better way to, like, depict this big, bombastic shonen anime kind of battle than by essentially coming up with, like, oh, it's this, like, pocket dimension force field that you teleport into when you battle, right? So then you can just do as much noise as you want, and you're still hidden, right? Are you going to stream Senran Ninja War? I don't know. I haven't bought it yet. I still don't have it. I don't think that game is particularly good. But I guess I'll give it a shot. I don't know. I'll do something for it on my channel. I don't know if it'll necessarily be a stream, but at the very least, I'll make a review for it. I don't know when that'll happen. I really don't have a lot of money right now. And I did hear that there's gonna be a PC version of the game, right? Like Switch and PC version. I kind of want to get it on PC so that I can run the best that I can. And then I'll just play through all of it. And again, whether that's live streamed or offline, that remains to be seen. I'll have to decide that later. But if you guys are willing to watch that, you can let me know. But yeah, my feelings on that game are super mixed. I've seen a lot of reviews, I've seen gameplay, and the game looks super fucking lame. But I gotta play it for myself eventually. Yeah, I haven't bought it yet, but I mean, I guess I'm just like the Senran Kagura guy of YouTube, so I guess I have to play it. But I'm really not holding my breath. Even Japanese reviewers, that have reviewed the game on their Japanese YouTube channels have said that the game is super okay, you know, like super average. Like, it's not a terrible game, but it's just so, like, flat and boring and doesn't really have a whole lot going for it. That the gameplay is super, super truncated and simple. They said there was only one button. The game only has one button for attacks. Unacceptable. But hey, whatever. Naruhodo, I see. Practical combat training. Dummy. I should probably reserve all the commentary for when I'm actually fighting shit, huh? 10 viewers! Hey, thank you very much, everybody! Holla at me! Don't be afraid! Type something in the comments and I'll roast you. And if you don't want to get roasted, then just say hi. It's pretty average. Yeah, it really doesn't look super good. I mean, I'll play it, but $50 for a game that I already know that I'm not really gonna like. I'd rather play Burst on an emulator. Alright, Y for weak attacks and X for a strong attack. Yeah, B for jumping, combo hits, all of that good stuff. So get a combo with Y and X. Ah, 60 frames, I love it. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. We got ourselves a combo, baby. Alright, short dash with A. Invincibility frames when you dash. There we go. Shit, straight ahead of you. Hello, everybody. Hello, Icho boy. Hello, everybody. The aerial rave is a powerful attack that makes combos easier to rack up. Yeah, baby. I'm feeling rounded, baby. There we go. Yeah, change the green ring. Press R to perform your limit break. What is this, Final Fantasy VII? It drains 10% of your health, so be careful. Limit break can be used even while being hit by the enemy. Is this on emulator? Yes, I'm playing this on Citra. Don't worry. I own the game. Don't get your panties in the twist. Where's the... Oh, wait, it never came out physically. It came out digitally. But yeah, just to show you the proof that I got it. Hold on, I'm playing Dragon Quest right now, so yeah. Here it is. Senran Kagura. Basto. Right there. Little chibi Homura. I own the game. But, there's really no way for me to, like, properly, stream it, you know? I know that there's, like Katsukiri, you know, streaming kits and stuff, but that was deemed illegal, like a year and a half ago in Japan, so the person that was making those, like, you know, capture cards and stuff, they legally can't make it anymore, so, like, I have no choice but to emulate it. Which is the best decision I've ever made because it runs so good. 60 FPS, 1080p, baby, sign me up. Limit break. Yeah! I remember trying the tutorial with all the characters before actually progressing with the story. It was fun. It is fun. Senran Kagura is fucking lit. As you fight, you'll build your ninja art gauge. Yeah, transform. Alright, let's see this. Boing. Here we go. Why that? Why that pose? Bring it on. It does kind of slow down a little bit in this parts, but yeah. Also, one thing that I do need to mention about the emulation is that during these scenes with the transformation, with the ninja arts, it does this really weird thing where the game just kind of stays there. if you do a ninja art, it doesn't animate. It just kind of stays there. And so it's just a little awkward. If you're not pressing any buttons, it'll just stay like this forever, which is kind of funny. It's Halloween in my time zone, so happy Halloween. Yeah, happy Halloween to you. The pose is cool. This new character demo for this new Geo character? What do you mean new Geo? Don't you mean Neo Geo? And don't you mean King of Fighters? Not Neo Geo. I'm currently playing Burst Renewal and I like it. Cool! Enjoy yourself. I was about to ask, yeah, this is an emulator thing. In the 3DS game, this doesn't happen. But yeah, I gotta press a button and boop. There we go, now it does it. And the ninja arts are not much better. Yeah. It just kind of stays like that, which is a little bit upsetting. You have to press a button and then, yeah, then it'll do it. That kind of sucks because there's like this whole like, there's an entire like animation that goes with it and it just doesn't play. It's a little odd. I'm playing Bon Appetit and I like it. Cool. Frantic Mode. Alright. Destroy all the puppets. But hey, other than that, the game runs great. The game runs pretty damn great. Maybe the emulator will get some updates and maybe those parts will actually animate. Because I remember when I tried to run Senran Kagura Burst like 2 years ago, and it ran just as crappy as it did on the 3DS. And it's definitely all of these new updates that have been coming out for the emulator that, now the game runs so much better. I didn't really do anything special. I still have all of the default settings. The only time where I changed anything for the emulation was with Pokemon Omega Ruby. Because I remember that game was kind of getting a little slow. And so I had to change graphical settings and maybe turn off shaders and stuff. I already beat the Hanzo story. Congratulations. Move on to Heavy Joe. Look at the other side of the story. Hiden Nimpo. Yeah, so every single time I'm gonna have to, like, skip the animation manually. Because literally nothing happens when you do it. I want to play this version again. You should, it's fun. I don't know how powerful your computer is, but if you can emulate it, shit, dude, emulate it. Because then, like, it's just so much smoother, so much better. There we go, we got ourselves an A. In a minute and a half. Level 3. Oh god, back when we didn't have a flash bar. Yin, yang, and flash, but in the first game we only have yin and yang. New accessories added to National Hanzo Academy. Isn't it the other way around? Hanzo National Academy? My computer could not emulate this. Oh, well, you can just play it on 3DS. Use the National Hanzo Academy just for the change. Earn a new title. Godlike combo. Yeah, well, didn't we get like 500 on our combo? New music. I don't want to get a stronger computer, so I'm gonna play my 3DS won't last forever. Yeah, mine won't last forever either. This 3DS is new. This one that I have, this is a new 2DS XL. And I just got this like a few months ago. This is a very, very new 3DS, and I hacked it so that I can do a bunch of cool stuff with it. But my original 3DS, my Legend of Zelda, Link Between Worlds Golden 3DS, I still have it. But, you know, it's the original 3DS, so, like, it just doesn't run stuff as well. It takes forever to, like, load up Smash on that one. As opposed to the new 2DS that runs Smash Brothers in, like, 2 seconds. By the way, I never did a stream for Smash. Playing a Sora, we should do that sometime. The characterization for the OG Senran characters was so good, but with Shinoya versus and SL versus, I think they all got flanderized. No, I don't think they did. It was in the spin-offs, I would say. If you want to talk about them getting flanderized, look at Peach Ball, look at Shinobi Reflay, look